Doddie, thanks very much indeed for joining us. Tell us first of all, why did you decide to write the book?
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, the book, it's always something I've been thinking about. Stuart and I, maybe for about 20 years ago, thought about maybe starting maybe a book and putting some ideas together. And with my impending issue, motor neuron disease, because as our last discussion, which is about a year ago, so since we started this journey, the life expectancy once diagnosed, or the average life expectancy, between 1 and 3 years. So, well, maybe we don't have a lot of time here. So that was the reason why, just to put some of my memories down on paper, and here we are. We've got the book.
So what did you learn about yourself, do you think, in this process of looking back at your life?
Well, I think really how lucky I have been. And whether you generate your own luck or I don't know, but every time when I've been having a look and asking people what they've been thinking, they've been very complimentary by me, which I find it quite hard to believe why. But where I've been in some of the games I've been involved in, I maybe didn't really understand at the time how big a games they were. The semi-final of the World Cup, there's been a number of maybe Grand Slam, Triple Crown deciders as well. There have been some pretty impressive matches down in Cardiff, and one thing or another, and the friends that I've met throughout the way, it's been quite a wonderful experience. And then now with the MND story as well, just to try and let people know the kind of emotional issues that I've been going through at the moment as well.
You played rugby during a really interesting time, didn't you? I mean, you saw the dawn of professionalism.
Well, yeah, in the good old days, yeah, because the early 90s is where I got my first game, and it highlights that, the difference maybe to the professional game as well, because 96 I was very kindly went to Newcastle, Falcons as a professional rugby player, and how the game has changed and one thing and another, so it highlights a bit of that. But through my life as well, I've been very lucky, and in the book it mentions that rugby maybe wasn't my first sporting career that I would like to have excelled in, and it explains how I got into rugby and the journey I've been there as well, and all not that glorified, because I was one minute a professional rugby player and the next minute I was looking after people's sewage works. So it just shows that maybe kind of people think I'm a bit of a daft laddie and I dress a bit differently, but deep down there is a bit of a kind of reason behind everything.
As you say, you made some incredible friends in your journey through rugby, and they have been incredibly supportive to you, haven't they, in your kind of fight against MND? They
have, and in the book as well, friends from the start. We've got Richie Gray from Gala. We were on our first overseas tour with the Scottish schools to New Zealand and kept in touch nearly 30 plus years ago, and that's what the world of sport, I think, brings to not just me but to everyone else, to hold on to these friends and meeting your good self as well. It's certainly been a big part of that as well. But the MND story, yes, it's certainly changed my life quite a bit, and the focus and the fight now is different to maybe what it was when I was against Scotland v England. But there's similarities there to not give in, to keep going, because with MND there is no cure. There is no cure at the moment, and with my foundation, the generosity and support, it's just been unbelievable, because we're looking to invest £1 million in the first year, and that comes November, and we're very close to there, and that would not be possible if it wasn't for the generosity of everyone out there. So thanks to everyone very much for doing that, and it gives me a purpose, and I think the book as well gives me a reason. For the last 8 months I had a bit of a focus, as well as the MND and as well as my work to continue, and I think that's maybe why I am where I am.
You were diagnosed in December 2016, and we spoke last August, and you were in a very positive frame of mind. You were pledging to kind of fight this. How has your physical health changed since then?
Well, I think there's a wee bit deterioration in my hands and the arms a little bit, but not as drastic as what might have been. And again, looking over things, Rona, we've been very fortunate, because when we met it was quite an emotional meeting, because it was quite raw, quite fresh. I wasn't sure if I was going to see Christmas or one thing or another with the kids and the family, but we're still here maybe 2 Christmases in, which was pretty fantastic. And other people, for example, I was down at a big dinner last night in London, and you hear stories that people have maybe had 3 months since being diagnosed, from diagnosed to death, and a lot younger than I am. So I'm very fortunate to where I am, but the fight is certainly there. It's certainly on. The generosity and the momentum that we've got is unbelievable, and again, just want to thank everyone, because it just makes a big difference to me for getting up.
You say that the progression has been fairly slow. Is that at the back of your mind, though, when things will change. I suppose you just don't know what the future holds, and that must be very difficult to deal with psychologically.
A little bit, but the future's not very rosy, however you look at it. Again, at the dinner last night, there was a lovely gentleman called Steve who was there. He only can communicate by his eyes. He can't move anything else. He has a carer that unfortunately has to suck saliva out his mouth. So that's the longer picture that might happen to myself. So that's why the fight is certainly there to find this illustrious cure and to try and do everything we can to try and do that, to stay in the focus we are, because it might sound a bit bizarre, but just tying your shoelaces gives me a lift because of my neurons in my hands are a bit slower now, so trying to do buttons and ties are quite tricky. So when you tie a shoelace, you get a buzz to say, yes, I can still do that. And the same, and so that's the life I lead at the moment, and long may that continue. If I can keep doing my shoelaces, then things will be fine.
What do you feel when you talked about this chap who was in the wheelchair, you know, being cared for? How do you feel when you see someone like that?
Well, yeah, it's a feeling that I might look upon things in a different way. That and the book maybe emulates that a little bit. My attitude to life has always been pretty buoyant and pretty smiling. Yes, if that's the way that we're eventually going to end up, then we just have to deal with it. And when I got diagnosed, that was the first thing. Okay, here we go. MND, not the best, and you see these guys and that and ladies in that area, you can think, oh, don't want to be like this, but then one day I might have to be like this, and it channels your focus more to try and see if you can make a difference, because the annoying thing at the end of the day, there is not one drug out there from 22 years ago, and the only drug available gives a 3-month life expectancy, extra life expectancy. So we're on that, we've passed that, so there's nothing there, and we like to change that. But yeah, it's difficult times. But the positive thing, a lot of these people who are coming to our foundation, My Name's Doddie Foundation, are very happy of the work we're doing, because finally I think we're generating a little bit of awareness and also a little bit of funds as well to try and make a difference. And again, that will be possible for the collective help.
And how are your family coping at all, your 3 lovely boys?
Yeah, they're pretty cool, because I think, fortunately at the moment, I'm not too bad. They have to help me with the odd button or the old belt now and again, or one thing or another. They're very good and they're very helpful that way. They don't shout back to me too often. The good lady Kathy's just been amazing, because it must be very difficult for them, but they're not really showing it in front of me. But again, in the book, it just goes a wee extra page about the emotional feelings of where we are. And we've been on one of the most amazing journeys as a family as well. And it started when I met you about a year ago, and then we're back here at Murrayfield in that great game against New Zealand, taking the boys out. So we're doing the same again next weekend against Wales, which will be very exciting.
And you talk in the book about how you saw Hamish pass his driving tests and Angus pass his tractor driving test, and so they must feel like small victories.
To see these life-changing things for myself have been quite special. So yeah, Hamish driving, Angus tractor, the wee one Ben's been involved in the rugby at age level as well. So again, it continues my sort of drive to stay here.
You talk in the book about how you took part in the common riding, probably against medical advice, and you said, I'd bucked convention, proved the experts wrong, and proved to myself and others that there might be another way to kick back against this MND, taking it on head on and giving 2 fingers to this dreadful condition. I thought that really summed up your attitude.
Yeah, and that's where it's been from day one, not to let MND kind of change your life. So the week after that, actually, we did a bike ride for 30 miles as well. So we're just trying to show that, look, we can keep going where we are.
Okay, well, so nice. We've just about got through this, Doddie. Thank you so much for speaking to us in Scotland tonight. It's such a pleasure, and I really enjoyed the book.
Come here.
Yeah.